Several months ago, I purchased this Moxon Vise hardware kit. It's been sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Not because I don't want to do it, just because I had so many other projects to do. So finally it's come the day where I'm going to start working on it. The box comes with instructions and all the hardware you need to create a Moxon Vise. I've never worked with a Moxon Vise, but I am to understand that they make life a lot easier when you're doing joinery, because my bench is lower than it's comfortable to work with. So the Moxon Vise brings up the joinery surface when you The instructions suggest to put the holes for the clamp the 3 inches in from this side and 6 inches from this side. And then both of them are going to be 3 inches up from the bottom. So right here and right here. Okay, I drilled the holes. I didn't film it because I'm pretty sure you all know how to drill holes at this point. And now I need to transfer these hole locations to the other part of the vise. Now, it's not the same exact measurement because there's a little overhang on the bottom that we want. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set the front piece of the vise upside down. I'm going to set the back of the vise, and I'm going to line it up just so that it's just right where it needs to be. And then I'm going to take my Forstner bit, set it in the hole, and tap tap. The other hole too. Tap tap. So now, and I can just go ahead and mark this with a pencil so that I can see it better. And now I have my locations for the holes for the other half. I'm going to go ahead and chisel out space for the nut on the inside of the vise. So, marking where the nut is, tells me where I need to chisel out. So we'll see how well this works.
I want it to be snug, but not tight. So
So this is what I'm going to do until it's deep enough to accept this nut. One down, one to go. It actually was a lot easier than I anticipated. Once it got past that first couple hits, it worked out really well. The only problem is I kind of wish I had a Moxon Vise so I can build my Moxon Vise, because I'm having to kneel down because my back is killing me. I was going to use dados and inset the leg pieces on, and then I decided why go through all that extra effort unnecessarily. So I've decided I'm going to pocket hole screw the parts together. I think that will be plenty strong, and so I'm going to have a leg like this, a leg like this, and then I'm going to pocket hole it to the back piece. Actually not like that. Like this. And then I think I'm going to just have another brace here, and that's going to be plenty strong for the needs of this table. After completing the vise to this stage, now what I'm doing is I am using hand planes, and I'm going to try to make the surface as flat and smooth as possible. I was going to do a tung oil finish, but tung oil is rather expensive, and I think it's completely unnecessary for this particular project. So I've decided to use just regular furniture wax, paste wax. And I think that will do just fine for a shop fixture. Before waxing it up, I've decided to put a cork pad on the inside of the vise. I don't know if this is completely necessary or not, or even desirable. It seems to me it's a good idea. I'm going to use contact cement to adhere it, and this is not that fancy cork stuff that Andy Klein sells. This is just standard cork. Alright, this project is done. I have put 2 coats of wax on it. I am sure it's going to get more coats of wax in the future, and the wax is doing 2 things. Is that it's protecting the wood somewhat, not massively so, but what it does is that it also, when there's glue spill up or paint or whatever, it won't stick too well to the wax. So the idea is that I protect the surface as best as I can. Now all I have to do is figure out where the heck I'm going to store this thing when I'm not using it. Good question. I guess it would be a good idea to show you some of the features of this new vise of mine. And this is it here. It turned out to be rather heavy, but that's okay. I can live with that. On the bottom, you'll notice that the front vise extends beyond the bottom of the main body of the vise. And the reason why that's there is so I can just set it on my table and slide it back, and now it registers to the edge of my bench. I come in here with some hold downs, hold fasts, and I can just bang them into place, and they will bang them into place, and it will hold the whole unit stable. The original plans called for just up to here, and it was just a vertical vise with the face, and that would work too, but the problem I decided with that is that it was a little tipsy, since I decided to use a hold down to hold it in place. The other thing I did differently was I added cork to the inside using contact cement. I didn't do a very good job cutting it, but it's still going to do the job that it needs to do. And with the cork, if I'm using a particular nice piece of wood that I'm joining, then I would be able to keep from marring up the wood too bad. And then finally, the other thing I did, not finally, one more, is that the original plans called for a 3/4 inch hole on both the base of the vise and the face of the vise, and I did a 1-inch hole on the face. That way there can be some racking and it's not going to be the problem, and I can have some racking and if the board is not particularly straight. I added this table, and I think that's going to be useful for when I'm doing the joinery. That way I have a table at that height, and then it's going to be more comfortable of a height to bang out my my cuts. And then also the original had this angle right here, so that when you're cutting with saw, you can get without cutting into your vise face. This hopefully is going to be a good addition to my shop. Finally, just remember, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10, good job.